Having failed to remove President Trump or even neutralize his presidency, and fearing the consequences of his likely re-election in November, the secret combination then decided to take the nuclear option, seize power through a global crisis before Trump could further disembowel their hopes of global domination. A pandemic was their best option. Of course, to create a pandemic, you need two things: a pathogen and a means to spread it globally. The pathogen must be highly contagious, such as a virus, and have no medical remedy, such as a vaccine. It must be, in point of fact, a biological agent that can be purposefully used as a weapon. Not everyone has a bioweapon on hand or the means to effectively spread it throughout the world. Generally speaking, only countries have these capabilities. Enter China. China may or may not be part of the worldwide secret combination per se. Nevertheless, it is run by the radical far-left Communist Party of China, a party with ambitions of global domination and a common enemy in the United States. We know that the radical left in the United States has been intimately connected to Communist China for decades. As Secretary of State Clinton put it in 2009, China is not an adversary, but a partner. The pathogen of choice for the pandemic was created in the Institute of Virology in Wuhan, China. In early May, Secretary of State Mike Pompeo stated directly in an interview with ABC that there is a significant amount of evidence that the virus came from the laboratory in Wuhan.
I can tell you that there is a significant amount of evidence that this came from that laboratory in Wuhan.
The laboratory is a known bioweapon research facility. Shortly after the outbreak, Chen Wei, an expert in biological weapons and a major general in the PLA, was appointed to head up the laboratory. There is another, more disturbing narrative that suggests that the COVID-19 virus, designated SARS-CoV-2, is not novel, meaning new and unseen before, but is a product of genetic manipulation, first begun in the United States and then continued in the Wuhan Institute of Virology. That is, it is a biowarfare-capable pathogen with pandemic potential, jointly created by the US and China. We know from Representative Matt Gaetz that the NIH funded the Wuhan Institute of Virology to the tune of $3.7 million in taxpayer funds for research into the coronavirus.
Here's something remarkable and upsetting. The work in that lab, including its research into disease-carrying bats, was funded in part by U.S. taxpayers through the National Institutes of Health. Hard to believe that's true, but it is. Congressman Matt Gaetz represents Florida. He joins us tonight to follow up on this story. Congressman, that's one of those stories that if you had said that out loud a week ago, I think even I might have dismissed you as insane, but it's true. How did this happen?
Yeah, I'm against funding Chinese research in our country, but I'm sure against funding it in China. The NIH gives this $3.7 million grant to the Wuhan Institute of Virology. They then advertise that they need coronavirus researchers. Following that, coronavirus erupts in Wuhan. And then what's really troubling to me is that either conspicuously or miraculously, the Wuhan Institute of Virology is able to sequence the virus on January 2nd, but China doesn't admit to the virus existing to January 9th, and then the Wuhan Institute of Virology doesn't release this important scientific information to the world until January 12th. So at best, Americans are funding people who are lying to us, and at worst, we're funding people who we knew had problems handling pathogens, who then birthed a monster virus onto the world.
The funding provided to the Wuhan Institute was for gain-of-function research. Gain-of-function research is research that studies the improved ability of a pathogen to cause disease. This necessarily requires genetic manipulation of the virus to improve its ability to cause disease. The objective is to assess its pandemic capability and develop medical countermeasures. Of course, this is a double-edged sword. The newly created pathogen can cause a pandemic as well as simply be studied. More to the point, any agent that can cause a pandemic, as these laboratory-created viruses can also be used as a weapon of mass destruction when used deliberately. This is the very definition of a bioweapon.